Good evening everybody, my name is Helen, as Ben said. So I've been at John Lewis for 4 years, and before that I was in the Woolworths Group, which was originally part of Kingfisher. Most of you probably, if you've heard of Kingfisher, you probably think of B&Q, but back then it was a massive global retail group, and it had B&Q, Comet, Woolworths, Superdrug, Entertainment UK, lots of companies abroad. So I'm in John Lewis. I wasn't on the John Lewis graduate scheme, and I've never run the John Lewis graduate scheme. So I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about that, although if you've got any questions afterwards, you can come and ask me. I can probably answer most questions, or if not, point in the right direction. So I thought I'd just talk to you about why I chose retail, what a career in retail can look like. I've also ran a graduate scheme in retail, so I can tell you a bit about the kind of people that I would have looked for, and also the different kinds of graduate schemes, because there's quite a variety when it comes to retail out there. So why did I pick retail? Well, I picked retail because I'm quite a pacey person, as you can probably tell from the speed of my voice. And retail's really fast, and there's so much variety. I also picked the Kingfisher scheme because the focus on development was just second to none. They put us through a postgrad at Oxford, which was kind of rather ridiculous. We got sent to Oxford for 2 weeks each year, and it was like an honesty bar and 3-course meal every evening, waiter service. It was quite phenomenal. I don't think you get an organisation investing that kind of money now. I'm not sure they got the return on that investment. I think it was quite significant. So I was in Kingfisher, started in Woolworths. During our induction week, they announced the demerger of Kingfisher and into Kingfisher and the Woolworths Group. And I chose to stay in Woolworths because actually the development there was absolutely fantastic. Spent 6 months in a branch. If you're going to go into retail, even if you want to go into a head office function, spending time in a branch is just so important because you really get to understand the practical implications of your decisions. And if you don't like customers and you don't like shops and you don't like products, retail's probably not for you. After that I moved into organisation development, working on a massive organisational restructure, then moved into a commercial role in entertainment. So that's CDs and all that kind of stuff. I moved across to our entertainment distribution company where I spent some time in L&D, learning and development, running the graduate scheme and organisation development, and then I took a career break before joining John Lewis, where I've done mainly kind of change management roles, so supporting organisational change, also talent development, and I'm currently seconded onto a massive transformation project. So as you can see, I've done quite a lot. I think I've written down what I've done. So in the last 10 years, had 8 different roles in 3 different functions, in 4 different divisions, and in 2 large retail groups. So quite a lot of variety. And I've done everything from working on the shop floor to covering a night shift, having one-to-ones with factory staff because we're selling the factory, to working alongside a team of consultants on a big transformation project. So loads of variety. I thought I'd also share with you what some of my peers are doing now, just to give you a flavour of the kinds of careers you can have. So I've got these written down, so I wanted to tell you some of the good ones. So a great friend of mine is now retail director of a big catering and support services company. So she's moved out of retail, and what you'll find is that a lot of the skills you develop in retail are very transferable. She basically runs all the bars, restaurants, pie bands, and all the big sporting events and entertainment arenas. Having a great time. She flew up the ladder, was just one off board at the age of 28, I think. I have friends that are in buying, which is a wonderful, if I have my time again, I think I'd like to do buying. Pick up a pen, a buyer has to decide, what do our customers want, what are the colour trends, where do I, what's my entry price point, what's my top end price point, how am I going to market these pens? A pen can actually become quite exciting, and when you talk to buyers, it's amazing what they'll get excited about. I have a friend who runs a responsible sourcing consultancy now. So she started in B&Q in their responsible sourcing team, and now works with other organisations. So working with them to think about how they can source their products responsibly. It's a really interesting subject. It's not as straightforward as it might sound. So we would think it's shocking that a child is learning a trade very young, but in that culture that might be seen as quite a privilege. So it can be, it's a long process working with the communities that you're sourcing from to kind of educate them and come to a kind of more ethical way of working. So you know, there are opportunities in responsible sourcing in retail. I know someone who's a senior supply chain development manager out in Hong Kong, so he's thinking about, well, what's the most effective way of getting products from our source, where we source it, to the UK, the most environmentally friendly, cheap, all of that. So there's such a variety of jobs you can do in retail. How much time have I got? I feel like I'm talking for ages. So I mentioned I run a retail graduate scheme, so I thought it might be helpful to tell you what I think people are looking for and the different kinds of schemes that are out there. There are lots of different retail schemes, so you will find that there are some that are looking for their future leaders, some that are looking for kind of middle managers, and some that are just trying to get bums on seats, basically. So they're looking for very different things, and it's important to think about what you want, because you'll get very different support depending on the type of scheme that you join. I think starting salary is a bit of a red herring. I would look at the opportunities to progress and the support you'll get, because you can progress very quickly and your earning potential can, you know, grow very quickly. You know, I mentioned my friend who was just one off board at 28. You know, she was earning over 100 grand at that age, and in retail that's, you know, pretty good. There are schemes that do much more structured development, and there are schemes that do much more bespoke development. So think about what you want. Do you like the structure, or do you want something that's much more kind of focused around you and your needs? And who does well in retail? So every scheme will look for different things, and they'll probably be quite explicit on their websites as to what they're looking for. Personally, everybody's got a degree, so you need to jump out. You know, even if you've got a degree from a top university, I've looked at the applications, it doesn't mean you're going to catch my eye. What's going to catch my eye is someone who, through their application form, demonstrates a real passion for retail and for product and for what they want to do. I mean, one of the best, probably the most successful graduate I recruited, his academics were okay. But he had, to fund his gap year, he'd set up a marketing company with a couple of friends, and they pitched against other agencies for some work with some well-known brands, and they won the work. That told me something about the individual, much more than grades or whether they went to university. I would always look for someone that's got real drive, and when I say drive, that's not about personal gain, it's about drive to have an impact, a really positive impact. And again, I'd look for somebody that can fit in, but stands out. So somebody that can read the culture, but can stand out because they see things in different ways. They share different perspectives, and perhaps spot things that other people wouldn't see. Really bring kind of new ideas to the table. And obviously, as I've mentioned before, gotta love products, retail, be interested in customers. Even if you're working in IT for 11 months of the year, you will be asked to go out and help on the shop floor, and you will have to come face to face with customers. So you have to be comfortable with that. And the other thing is change. There's going to be more change in retail over the next 10 years than there's been over the last 100 years. That's going to be really, really exciting, and it needs people that thrive off change and drive change. So that's again what I would be looking for. Is that enough? Probably.
That's so, we're going to have Q&A as well. So yeah, that's absolutely perfect.
So yeah, I'll be around. So you know, do ask questions at either the panel bit or come and find me later if you want to ask me more questions.